Hello, friends. Hey, if you're here watching the replay, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Svava Brooks. I'm a trauma recovery coach, and you are watching the replay of a live stream where I'm here Tuesdays and Thursdays hanging out with fellow survivors, thrivers on the healing journey after trauma and abuse. If you'd like to learn more about my coaching and the group coaching, my Facebook group, or what I'm up to, and learn more about my books that I've written as guides for our recovery for healing journey, please visit my website, svavabrooks.com. And you can also find my books. They're available on Amazon or Kindle. But if you're here, right now, please let me know that you're here. Please say hello so I can welcome you. So we can celebrate you and so we can have you join the conversation. I'll be hanging out here for the next hour. Happy to answer any questions that you may have about your healing journey after abuse and trauma. And if you're new to me, hey friend, I am a survivor of childhood abuse, trauma, and neglect myself, and love to share some of the tools that I have found were helpful and supportive for me on my healing journey. And my favorite part on this journey has been to host and facilitate and hold safe space for groups, because we, my friends, heal faster in groups. I am absolutely certain of that. So, but any questions that you have on healing and recovery, please post, please share. And if I don't have the answer, there's a lot of wisdom here in this space. I will turn it over to the community, and I'm sure our shared experience, we can come up with some insight and some guidance for you. But also quickly for my Periscope viewers, if you're here and you're wondering who I'm responding to, I got YouTube going on here as well. And on my Periscope profile, you can find the link to my YouTube channel. But with that, hey friends. All right. Hey, how are you? Rachel, Miss Svava, I'm here. She says, ooh, I love that emoji, the little kitty cat. Rob is here from the UK. Wanda is driving home. All right. Thank you, Wanda. Got it. Hey, Sue, how are you doing, my friend? You've been on my mind and my heart. I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're doing okay. Flowers. You love the avatar picture. Yes. I love how creative you guys are with, with your posts. Love it, love it, love it. So what's new and good? What's new and good? I want to start by sharing quickly before I forget, because I had mentioned last week that I would only be here today, this week. But because of the coronavirus, I was actually meant to be at a 3-day conference starting tomorrow through Friday. But because of the virus, this conference has been moved. So basically, all of a sudden, 2 days freed up on my calendar. So I was like, woohoo! Don't know what I'm going to do with myself in all that free time, but I'm sure I'll find something to do. But we were all feeling a little sad about it, because this is a local event that we've been planning for over a year. Lots of community coming together on child sexual abuse and prevention. So we were excited to have this conference finally happen after such a long planning. But the host of the conference was actually at a senior center. And of course, knowing what we know about the virus, that it can be especially hard for, elderly. So of course, we agreed, and we have to move the conference. So, hey, Kath. Hey, Kath. Hey, friend. I'm seeing you over here on Periscope. I know all our friends over on YouTube are going to say hi. That's right, Rachel. Better to be safe. You're absolutely right, Sue. I'm going to actually do some Svava time. And actually, Friday night, I'm starting another round of TRE classes here in Portland, Oregon, and I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, it was a shame, but hey, life happens while we make plans, right? I mean, that's really, I think, what the whole world is going through right now. So please, my friends, take really good care of yourselves and really good care of your health. And so I think less is more right now. Hey, Kat. Hey, friend. And of course, right, keep washing those hands and, and keep our tissues close. Doing all the common sense things to be safe out there. Sue says, I have running water and washing machine working in your kitchen. Yay! Sue has been going through kitchen remodel. I can't wait to see pictures. So that is a challenging time when you your whole kitchen's been pulled out. So glad to hear you're making progress. You got water. Nice. Yes, Rachel. Hey, Sue S. Everyone. She says, I'm driving, so I'm just going to be listening. That's all right. Keep your eyes on the road. Keeps your eyes on the road. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Ricky. Hey, friend. Hey, friend. So glad you're here. Very glad you're here. Sue says, I just got rid of my cough. Yes, exactly. I'm so glad that you are better now, that you had that rotten cold and cough for a while. So, and Rob, he's got a little tip for us. I hear you, Kath. Kath says, I've missed hearing you, Svava. I've also missed Iceland. I'm also missing Iceland, she says. I hear you. Well, I'm so glad that you missed my voice. I think I'm an acquired taste, so not for everybody. But hey, part of this healing journey, as I've finally released my authentic self, I just keep showing up and see who wants to hang out, right? Whoever does not get overwhelmed by all this, we're good. Because I, like so many others, when growing up, I was told, Sava, can you just tone it down a little bit? Can you just not be so, big energy and so excited or happy or joyful, right? So that is very sweet of you, Kath. And I can relate to missing Iceland, a very acquired taste. Thank you, Kath. And I'm going to Iceland in a couple months. So I will be, of course, doing videos and pictures and sharing them. So are you going back? Usually when people go once to Iceland, they have to go back. So let's see here. I was saying Rob had, let's see here. He was giving us some tips: salt gargle, zinc tablets, hot drinks, virus dies at plus 26 Celsius, right? Garlic gets rid of cold and flu. See, now we're sharing all our tips and tricks. How do we stay healthy? Garlic, honey, lemon tea works wonders. Salt water gargle. Yes. Will you indulge in some skyr, says Rachel. Actually, Rachel, I'm a vegan now. So I have not seen vegan skyr from Iceland yet. So when that comes, I would be happy to have some. But I have found vegan skyr here. See, I'm switching over to my Icelandic. Ég hef fundið vegan skyr hérna í Ameríku. So, but I haven't seen it in Iceland. Not yet. I could invent it. Now, there you go. Now, that's a thought. That's a thought. Let's see, Kath. I'm scrolling down here. Saw your comment. What have you been drinking? I've not been drinking at all. Just water. We are so going back to Iceland. We are in love. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. So somebody was asking what I'm drinking. I'm just drinking water, making sure, right? Keeping up with staying hydrated is part of staying healthy. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you love the almond milk yogurt from Whole Foods? Yes, I have. I have found some almond milk yogurt that I love too. So all kinds of good stuff coming out now that is dairy free. Because now if it happens to be a traces of dairy in something, my tummy gets very upset with me. So there's no turning back. No turning back. So guys, are we ready? Are we ready to dig in, to jump in, to do the work today? I know we've kind of been going on the same topic for a while. We've talked about, setting boundaries, toxic people, right? Which is important for us to notice, to pay attention to, become aware of, because a lot of those things that we struggle with in life as we've become adults are left over from our childhoods, right? From having been hurt by our caregivers or even other adults. We weren't honored or supported in setting boundaries or speaking our truth or asking for help. And so for children, that creates very mixed messages inside of us. Like, who am I? What am I really feeling when I've just had to shut it all down and not even express my true feelings? I've just kind of had to go along with what's happening and approved in my environment, whether the people around us were helpful or not. So a lot of the things that we've normalized was not healthy or supportive. And part of the healing journey, right, is to kind of assess as we are going inside to, get healthier about what's going on inside of us and develop our capacity, awareness of our emotions, our thoughts, our beliefs, and how can we create a safe place to process, to get that out. And that's what we're doing here, creating a safe place of support for us to come together, because we really do need, that social engagement, that support system. We do heal in community. Hey, Elizabeth, so glad you're here, friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today we are talking about toxic people. And so let me set up our conversation, and then I am going to share with you, a few of our group members have given me permission to share their comments. And today we're on day 63 from the 365-day guide. Yep. The healing, especially when we make that shift from surviving to thriving, is really a daily practice, daily intention. It's not like deep, hard work every day, but to be mindful and intentional of, where am I? What am I choosing to focus on today? Because unless I'm paying attention to the world, inner world, and what I want to surround myself with on a daily basis by default, we often fall back to our old ways, our old habits, our automatic habits, right? Because that's really what your biology does. And it's meant to do in many ways to keep you safe. But part of healing is to recognize what perhaps was helpful in the past, but it's not so helpful now. So thanks for the hearts, friends. Thank you. So today, I want you to consider doing something that is really hard for survivors of child abuse. I want you to do your best. I know when I write in the book, I say, go for it. Cut all those people out of your life. So do your best, right? Because it's not easy. I know too from experience. However, it is the best thing that we can do for our healings, right? To minimize our exposure to people that are not helpful, not supportive. Toxic people never change. Toxic people hardly ever change. And it is not our responsibility to heal them, right? And first of all, we can't help anybody who doesn't want help. I mean, that goes for all of us. So, and we can't heal ourselves if we're surrounded by toxic people. Toxic people are incapable of supporting you or telling you the things that you need to hear. Incapable of supporting you or telling you what the things that we want and need to hear. So the two questions are today, in what ways have you tried to change some of the toxic people in your life, right? A lot of us have tried, right? A lot of us have tried, like, yep, I'm going to make that person a better person. I'm going to love them to death, or I'm going to just be better and they will change, right? I know most of us. And sometimes we did it even as children, right? And didn't often go so well. So the second question, what small step can you take today to minimize exposure to the toxic people in your life? So I'm going to take a quick peek. You got to bear with me, guys. I'm managing multiple windows here. So if I don't see your comment right away, that is why. So like I mentioned earlier, a few of our group members here on Facebook have given me permission to share their comments. So Rob says here, he says, hey gang, I try and excuse me, something in my throat, and only deal with real people. And that began with politely ditching any toxic. And now I need to meet more like-minded people. Good, Rob. Good for you, my friend. And I love that strategy, politely ditching any disrespectful or toxic people, because sometimes that's the best exit strategy. Just to slowly bow out, just slowly remove yourself. I've had a couple of people in my life, and I swear, I think still to this day, they are confused, especially one person, very confused as to why I'm not in their lives anymore. And I'm like, that's enough information for me. If you are not sure why, that's it, right? So anyways, long story there. But so thank you, Rob. Absolutely. As we heal, as we work on our own, healing our own hearts and recognizing who we are and our needs, right? And a lot of that comes from, right, when we finally value the truth of who we are, our birthright. Our friend here on Periscope asked, who are toxic people? That's a good question. That can be different for different people, like who they are. Most of us know some people that are really hard to deal with or are toxic. And I actually pulled up an article here because I figured that question might come up, and I'm happy to share some points from that article. So hang in there, but thank you for asking. So Sue shared with us, Sue S said, and I know Sue, you're driving, so keep your eyes on the road. Thank you so much. I really appreciated all the writing that you shared with us today. That was a lot of beautiful, beautiful writing, so much clarity. So I'm gonna tease out some of your key points here if I can. But I'm so glad that you are gaining some clarity here and recognizing one step at a time, and one step that you are recognizing that you're taking. to have more time and energy for your healing instead of running around trying to take care of other people, right? A little bit of that, yes, but unfortunately for so many survivors, we end up in codependent relationships where we are breaking our backs over making other people happy, trying to make everybody feel good because we struggle with really, right, turning inwards, recognizing, right, those people are never going to give you that. That's something we have to do for ourselves. And that inner work takes time. And when we finally do that, then we get clarity about, wait, I don't even treat myself that way anymore. I don't speak that way to myself. No, thank you. I will not have you speak to me that way. So Sue S. shared here, I'm not sure I really tried to change them. I've always blamed myself for everything that happened and only recently started putting the blame where it actually belonged. I've cut most of the toxic people out of my life, and the ones that remain are few, but are part of the homeless community we care for, and I now restrict what I offer them. I present the resources available to them and nothing more. If they aren't willing to accept the help and take the actions necessary to change their situation, then I am no longer willing to give more of myself to help them. There's that light bulb moment. Absolutely, right? Here's the thing. We cannot help other people unless they want the help and are willing to do what they can. She says here, she goes on, was I trying to change them by taking the action in their place? ? I was going out of my way to make their lives better by making calls they were quite capable of doing on their own. But I felt bad about the plight they were in, and so I attempted to better their living situation. I hate seeing people living on the streets, and if they are abusing alcohol or drugs, it's even worse. If they're not interested in taking advantage of the programs that will help with their addictions, I can't force them to want to change. I have tried to show them their lives could be so much better and that they are worth so much more. I've attempted to show them their value, but in most cases, it's a wasted effort. Anyway, I have stopped giving money I can't afford. I'm one step away from being homeless myself and have a hard time between paychecks. Yet, I feel at least I was more better off than them and can't stand to see someone go hungry. I've been there. I hear you, my friend. I absolutely hear you. And this is exactly so much of it. It's like when we've been in other people's shoes, it is hard. It is hard when we see other people struggle and we've been there and we so much want to pull them out of it. So badly want them. We want to pull them out and help them and support them. And I've learned that the hard way also, my friend. Right? No matter how much I wanted that for someone else. Right. And it's actually been interesting. And I think I've heard you share that in a different post that sometimes those are actually the people, sometimes the people you help the most are the ones that turn on you, which is kind of heartbreaking, right? So I've learned the hard way myself, and maybe you're not alone. I would love to hear you guys, if you can see, by show of hands, do you have this experience? Have you had this experience that when you were helping someone else and no matter what, right, you couldn't or they wouldn't? So let's see here. She goes on to say, one step I can take to minimize toxic exposure is realizing my own capacities and stay within those boundaries, as well as the responsibility limitations I've set for myself. I have my own needs as well as those of my family, and they must come first. I have a big heart and great empathy for others, but there's only so much that I can give. I need to stop taking the pain of others and trying to solve it for them. I need to direct the same kindness and generosity to myself, or I will never be able to heal. I hear you, friend. I do hear you. Absolutely. There is something to be said, right? So much heartache and people are hurting in the world. But the truth is, all we can do, and this is what I find in our community, we always attract the most beautiful, beautiful souls. And in our space, we learn all we can do is to sit with each other, right? We can't make it go away. We can't change it. We can't control it, right? But I can sit here with you. And, right, I hear you. I feel you. I see you. That, must be very hard. So don't apologize, Sue, for the length at all. Absolutely not. Just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. It's beautiful and it's so good and important to get that out. That's what our group is for. So that is what the group is for. So blaming myself, that's familiar, says Sue P. Yep, absolutely. Exactly. And you're hearing that, Sue, from other people here. We love your share. It was never too long. And Sue P says, yes, took time to understand that I could not fix others, right? All right, Wanda's in the house. She's off the road. You're welcome, Sue. You're welcome. Before, I wanted just to touch in and see your guys' comment before I finished. You go on here to say, she says, I'm working on the belief that I deserve. Hey, friend, that I deserve it and know the follow through will come in time and with a lot of practice. I've taken steps forward in my journey as well as few steps back. Yep, me too. That's the process. It's not a straight shot. It's few steps forward, few steps back, few steps forward, few steps back. It's to be expected. So it's what I do with those failures, says Sue, that's important. I will use them as valuable lessons as I move forward each day. Sometimes I'm finding I need just to take it moment by moment lately. And some days are better than others. I won't give up and I won't give in to the thoughts and desires of giving up just because the road is difficult. I'm worth it. Right. Yes, you are. Absolutely worth it. To everyone reading or hearing this, she says, you are worth it. My love and support to you all. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sue. Thank you, thank you, thank you for taking the time to write out your process, your thoughts, your steps, because when we share from our vulnerable place, this is actually where our strength lives, right? You are inviting others to share, and you're modeling courage. And when we model courage, we practice courage, guess what? After a while, that willingness to share, a few of you here have heard me say this in the beginning, willingness is courage undercover. So the more we're willing to do the work, which is processing it, talking about it, getting it out, the lighter this heart will feel, and the more room there will be for connection to others, connection to self, connection to source, connection to Mother Earth, right? You're making room for the good stuff. You're lightening that load. So thank you so much for trusting and sharing it with us. So glad that you're here. Hey, Kath, you made it over to YouTube. And quickly to my Periscope friends, the link to my YouTube channel is on my profile if you want to join, but glad to have you here. Glad that you're here. I'm doing my best to keep an eye on 2 live streams here, so bear with me. But any questions, feel free. If you have any questions, about what we're up to, or if you have any questions about healing and recovery after trauma. Elizabeth said here, I had a big fight with a narc mother, but I wasn't as anxious as I used to. I knew I was arguing against the disorder. Yes, Elizabeth, I hear you, my friend. I hear you. Exactly. When you're able to separate who that person is to their behaviors. So it's important, and to recognize, right? That person is not going to have empathy or compassion or understanding for me or what I'm going through. I'm going to do my best, if I have to be in a conversation with this person, to just listen, to not take it in, right? Remember, whatever is going on over there is about her or about them, is not about me. It's not about me. Well, Kath, I'm glad you found your way over here. Glad you found your way over here. So, yes, but it can still hurt, right? As you're getting that comment. So it can hurt, absolutely. And when we feel that hurt, right? Find a safe person to talk to about that, who is willing to hear you. Because it does hurt when the people that, we were closest family members, people we loved and cared for, when we kind of realize they are not going to be able to provide that for us. So I'm glad that you're here, Elizabeth. We hear you, we see you, and we celebrate you. So I'm glad that you have that perspective. Very glad for you to have that perspective. Sue P shares with us her comments today is she says, probably the main way I've tried to change toxic people in the past is by trying to please them. Who else? I know Sue P is not alone in this one. Anybody else relate? Got some people around you, you just try harder and harder to please them. She says, I tried harder and harder to be what they wanted so they would love me. But of course, never worked. She goes on to say, it didn't work with my parents, who kept wanting more, and it certainly didn't work in my marriage. And it was only when I was right out of the situation that I could start to see it for what it was, and tentatively began to heal. I hear you, my friend. She says, now I do my best to maintain healthy boundaries so that any toxic people, when spotted, can be kept at a safe distance. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. And again, this is can be very tricky for us to navigate, right? When we grow up in an unsafe, toxic environment, really, a lot of this we normalize in our mind's eye, and it adds to our feelings and thoughts of, right, it's something we're doing wrong. There's something wrong with us, that we aren't good enough, that this must be our fault. Ugh. Exhausting, right? Exhausting. So be gentle with yourself, right? When we finally realize it, wait a minute. And then we find other people to talk to about this. Like, wait a minute, is that me? Or like do a little reality check. Like, in the beginning, I did a lot of reality checks. I took situation that was confusing to me because I often ended up walking away feeling shitty about myself. And I'm like, wait a minute, what happened here? Like things got turned on his head, or all of a sudden I was the bad guy. So I needed a lot of that, like playing out. And like, it's not that I went to my friend to gossip or anything. I was just like, I need help here. It's like, this is what happened. I'm trying to take responsibility for my part, recognizing that I do end up finding myself often in relationships or in interactions with people at work or whatever, where, I feel taken advantage of or being disrespected. And I'm trying to understand my part in it. So it's very helpful to do those reality checks. So thank you, Sue, for sharing, right? To recognize our old behaviors, how we survived the past. In the past, yeah, I did whatever I could to make sure certain people were happy, because then they would leave me alone, right? Or to accommodate, whatever, right? We did that as children because we had to. We didn't have a choice. But now, right? Once we realized we're not children anymore, and some of those patterns and those habits have followed us, we are learning to start to speak up, right? And set those boundaries. And keep a safe distance. Absolutely. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sue. All right, Sue P has got it for us on the changes of the time this week. Thank you, Wanda. Thank you, Sue. I hope, Sue P, you can see you're not alone. You're not alone. Oh, yes, I need to get another's opinion in a situation like that too. Yep. Always good to do in the beginning once we're navigating, right? Those past beliefs and those thoughts we had about ourselves. So very important, very important. Wanda shares with us today. Wanda says, since I haven't had toxic people in my life for many years, this answer will be about how I've worked on my toxic behaviors towards myself. Beautiful, my friend. She says, I don't isolate as much as I used to when things upset me. Instead, I will reach out for a reality check from those that I know love me enough to give me the truth. I no longer indulge in simulations to alter my moods. She says, to minimize the toxic behaviors that I may still have, I continue to work on myself through therapy and staying in communication with my support system. Beautiful, beautiful, my friend. And that's exactly it too, right? Sometimes when all of a sudden we start to notice toxic behaviors, guess what? Sometimes that mirror gets turned back on us, right? And that, in the beginning was kind of hard. It was kind of harsh, right? Because I was toxic, meaning I was not fun or pretty to be around years ago, because I literally was, so shut down. I was very controlling. I was very judgmental. I was, very critical, right? All the signs that how, of course, critical and judging I was towards myself, and how I thought by being controlling, I was managing my inside world, which I wasn't. It just kind of spilled over into how I treated other people. So that's also why sometimes when I see toxic behaviors in other people, I can sometimes feel a little compassion, right? And I'm not talking about abusive behaviors, but I'm talking about people that clearly they're unaware of how their behavior is impacting other people around them, right? So it's all good once we recognize that in other people to also recognize it in ourselves. And here's the thing, the more we heal that in ourselves, right, the easier it gets to spot, right, And actually, they do say, right, you will see it in other people sometimes faster than you see it in yourself. But when it comes up, right, I sometimes think it's like that. It's like that reality check, meaning when someone passes through your world that reminds you of who you used to be, then it's just like, yeah, let's do a little inside check here. Am I still like that? Right. And of course, we're all work in progress and we all have our good days and bad days, right? Nobody's perfect. But sometimes I think we see those things out in the world because we get to kind of revisit for ourselves. So, but I love what I'm seeing here, Wanda, that you are recognizing what is toxic for you, such as, isolating when things are hard, and when things are hard, right? So now that you recognize what is supportive for you and loving and encouraging is to reach out to other people, starting to trust that, right? Instead of those toxic beliefs from the past that no one cares, who are you to think anybody is interested in supporting or being there with you? All those assumptions that go off in our heads. Now you reach out and talk to other people and, assess what's really going on. So beautiful, Wanda. Beautiful, my friend. Thank you so much. So much. Yes, Rob says, I was whooping after reading this. You got good strategies and I applaud your growth. Yes. Such an inspiration, Wanda. Good. Thank you, Rachel. And Wanda goes on to say here, she says, I think my strong personality and my ability to seem very mean, toxic people stayed away from me. So I've pretty much been the most to is person in my life. Got it. The most toxic person in my life. I hear you. I hear you, friend. I hear you. Exactly. It's exactly that deep self-awareness, that willingness to understand, right? And then to understand, sweet Wanda, that you didn't become that person for no reason, right? Something had to have happened, right? Something had to have happened. And I want to put that out for all people that are struggling. And even I know that the people that we struggle with the most, right? No one is born toxic. No one is born evil. No one is born mean or vindictive or judgmental or whatever. None of that, right? We are all conditioned, my friends. We're all conditioned. So for me, on my journey, it has helped to find a space to hold a little bit of kindness and forgiveness, because I've looked at myself in the past and found a way to, forgive myself. And that was the hardest part on the healing journey. It was incredibly hard to forgive myself and to accept, right? Part of that is the acceptance. Bad things happened to me as a child. I was abused as a child. I was just a little girl. And as a result of it, thoughts and behaviors and beliefs that I was literally just acting out, trying desperately to get my needs met. Right? No matter how unhelpful my behavior was, I was trying to get my needs met. So, hey friends on Periscope, thank you for joining. I got 2 live streams going here, YouTube and Periscope. I got my YouTube link in my profile or Periscope if you're curious and would like to join the chat, but I'm doing my best to keep an eye on both streams. But I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. And just to give a few of you, just a slew of people just joined in. We are working our way through my book, one day, one time, one page at a time. So happy to answer any questions that you might have about healing and recovery after trauma. But thanks for being here. Good evening. Good evening. Glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So I was just reading through our member comments in our Facebook group, and also, great. Thank you. And also reading through some of the comments here on YouTube. You're welcome. Thanks for being here. So Elizabeth says here, well, physical trauma or we're talking mainly about psychological trauma, emotional, child abuse, neglect. So childhood abuse and trauma. So welcome to the conversation. So let's see, Elizabeth here on YouTube is saying, I used to believe being good meant lying sometimes to avoid hurting someone, but doing so hurts the other person by building a false narrative, and they can't learn from their mistakes. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Thank you, Elizabeth, for sharing that. I also have Wanda says here, yes, I realize that now, that I am not a horrible person. I thought that and acted like I was for 40 plus years. I hear you, my friend. I absolutely hear you. I mean, that was the hardest part. That was the hardest part about forgiving myself for all the ways that I had acted out as a child and as a young woman, because I thought I was just bad. I thought I was a horrible human being and then I recognized, no, I'm not bad. Bad things happen to me, right? I was able to then finally separate my behavior, my acting out, my cries for help, right? Which was not very helpful many times because I didn't know how to communicate and ask for what I needed. No, I know helpful or supportive role models in supporting me and expressing my feelings, asking for what I needed, getting that support that I needed. Yes, has to be a separation. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. I'm so sorry, my friend, that you've been hurt. So sorry to hear that. That is very hard to deal with. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're here. You're in a community. We are all here together. I love to chat with survivors about healing and recovery, because when we come together and recognize we are not alone, it gets easier. It gets easier, and we help each other heal. We lift each other up. We lift each other up. Sue P also says, yes, forgiving myself has been key, but hard. So thank you. Let's see, I got some questions here on Periscope. When you know deep down inside, I hear you. Absolutely. You know deep down that something wasn't right. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. It is hard. Absolutely. And I think my my Periscope, I'm running out of battery today for some reason. Hold on, friends. I'm trying to see if I can come up with the battery. I don't know why my charger isn't working today. But thanks for being here. I hope I'm frozen. Yep. I was trying to check my power. I don't know why I'm not. My charger isn't working. Hang in there, friends. I'm multitasking technology. Wanda says here, it took her friends repeatedly telling her Yes, to tell you you are a good person, right? Because family, right? The people closest to you didn't treat you well. So, hey, Periscope friends, I actually think my phone is about to die and I'm not sure why. So, apologize for that, but we got about 10 minutes left of our stream today. But please join me again. I'm here Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And welcome you to the conversation anytime. Sorry, no, the connection, I'm losing the connection, I think, because of I'm struggling with power. I'm doing my best to see what I can do to get power back up. Maybe this will work. Maybe this will work. But if I lose you all, sorry, but thanks for being here today. Thanks for being here. So over here, like I said, I got YouTube and Periscope going at the same time. Let's see, Rachel says, technology is playing tricks with me today. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So I'm doing my best to navigate here, moving targets. Rachel says, just going along with what people want, not to hurt their feelings, also paints a false picture of who we are to that person and ourselves. Yes, been practicing speaking up and expressing nicely when I don't want to do something, when I do, so people know the real me. Absolutely, Rachel. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. It is very hard at times, very hard at times. And so remember, guys, we talked a little bit about, setting boundaries last time, right? And that's part of how we deal with difficult people, right? It's about finding our voice, right? Recognizing that we are worth speaking up for, right? And practicing speaking up, practicing, setting those boundaries, because again, it isn't about us controlling people or telling people what to do. It's about us responding when people, right, don't keep their word or speak to us poorly, right? That's when we listen. I don't even speak to myself that way anymore. I'm going to not, take that from you, right? And if you speak to that way to me again, I will remove myself. I will remove myself and I will not hang out with you if you continue to speak to me that way, right? So that's kind of how we can practice our boundaries, speaking up. Really, it's an art. It's an art, right? Because we often think that setting a boundary is something that we set for someone else, but it's really something that we set for ourselves, right? Because when we set that for ourselves, we actually determine, wait a minute, I am not willing to be spoken to that way. I'm not willing to be treated that way. So, and that takes practice. Yes, life is too short. I let a lot of people go after, you let a lot of people go after fighting cancer. I hear you, friend. I hear you. Absolutely. After, years of recovery, after trauma and abuse, growing up in a very toxic household, right? I'm very protective of my inner circle and who I hang out with, who I spend my time and energy with. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, friend, we're actually coming to the end of our hour here. I really, really appreciate all the beautiful hearts I'm seeing over here on Periscope. Thank you so much for joining us. The link to my YouTube channel is in the Periscope profile. If you'd like to join us, I am here Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Absolutely. Find people that empower us. I hang out here Tuesdays and Thursdays, like I said, with fellow survivor thrivers as we work our way through my book, one day, one page at a time. So if you're looking for support or an online group, we would welcome you to come join us. Be here with us, and I wrap up every meeting with a card. And today I drew a beautiful card, like always. Always get the right cards. You're welcome. So one day he or she woke up and discovered that she had grown wings. So my friend, I don't know if you needed to be reminded today. I actually do believe that we all have wings. I believe we're all angels. Some of us have just forgotten. Some of us have just forgotten. So I don't know if this card was for you today, but thank you so much for being here today. And of course, I'm running out of power. So thank you for being here. And I wish you guys a beautiful week. I will see you back here on Thursday. Same time, same place, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you're curious and would like to learn more about the work that I do, where I work with adult survivors of trauma, my name is Svava Brooks, and you can visit my website, svavabrooks.com. Thank you so much, my friends. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you so much. Remember, you already have everything that you need to heal and restore right here, right now. We just need to be reminded. We just need to be reminded. So sending you all lots of love, and I'll see you next time. Bye, friends. Have a good evening.